Deadpool and Wolverine is finally here. So let's talk about it. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Seth Grimes here with a movie review, a spoiler movie review for the brand new MCU movie Deadpool and Wolverine. What did I think about it? What happened? We're going to get into it, but before we do, I want to give a quick warning. This is a spoiler review, so if you have not yet seen the movie, you don't want it spoiled for you, I suggest you turn back now, because from this point on, we are diving into full spoilers, baby. And we got a lot to talk about here. Before you go away, though, if you could hit that subscribe button down below, I'd appreciate that. And then you can come on back when you're done watching the movie, and we'll continue the conversation. But for those of you who have seen the movie, let's get into it. I didn't like the movie. I mean, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. It was a fine movie. It was a serviceable movie. It was entertaining. It was fun to watch. It holds up well compared to most of the other MCU movies. You're not going to have a bad time. It's definitely a fun watch. Definitely a fun movie. So at least there's that. I think what my problem is I got my hopes up. It's my fault. I let the internet get my hopes up. I don't want to be that guy, and I'm not going to be that guy. I'm typically not that guy. I'm not a contrarian. I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh, I didn't like it. And I'm not going to, just to sound cool or alternative or whatever. And I'm not going to be the artsy-fartsy guy that's going to be like, well, actually, the storytelling and the dialogue was a little weak. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to eat this one on the chin and blame myself. I got my own hopes up. Too much for it. I watched too many YouTube videos. I watched the non-spoiler reviews. I watched the rumors. I did not spoil anything for myself, by the way. The trailers spoiled pretty much nothing for me, though I didn't watch like the last one or two that they released. But it just, I expected more. So let me talk about what I expected more. I expected, look, everybody was kind of talking about how this was not only a love letter to the MCU and just fan service for the MCU fans, but it was also a love letter to the old Fox X-Men universe. People said that, or at least they said the old Fox universe. And it was, in a way, and we'll get to that when we get to the cameos, but I expected more. I did not get what I thought I was going to get. I got my hopes up. The first thing that I really wanted to see in the movie, I expected to see Wolverine fight the Hulk. And the most maddening thing about it is they cock teased it. So hopefully they play it in another movie or something. But there's a scene early on where Wade's hopping around the timelines trying to find a Wolverine. And he finds like the old Wolverine that wore the brown, which is a great comic book Easter egg for nerds to jerk off to. And I appreciate that. I really do. And Deadpool says, hey, isn't that the outfit that you fought the Hulk in? And then, like, out of the corner of the screen, there's the Hulk standing there. You could see, like, his arm and shit. But that was it. And then Wade jumps to another timeline to keep looking for Logan's. They had a couple fun gags in there, by the way. There was one where they had comic book accurate height Logan. So they had him, like, the 5'3" Wolverine, and he looked funny as hell. And Wade said he looked adorable and stuff. So they did fun stuff like that. The opening scene, we'll get to my letdowns in a minute. This is going to be kind of free flowing, but I promise I'll try not to ramble. I'll catch myself, and I'll try to keep this fairly tight. We won't go on all night long here, but that was fun. They did a lot of fan servicey things that were kind of unique there. And we'll get into those, but I just expected more. I expected a fight with the Hulk. Look, we got Deadpool and Wolverine in the MCU. This is their MCU debut. and they interacted with nobody from the MCU. Happy Hogan, they interacted with Happy Hogan at the beginning, where Wade's applying to be a fucking Avenger, which to me didn't go over. It was kind of, I don't know, like Wade has this weird like loss of confidence and swagger, and he was just, that was something that he oozed in the other movies. You know, that's how he was able to pull his hot chick girlfriend, even when he was ugly and burnt and shriveled. But now he doesn't have that self-esteem for some reason. So he's kind of begging on his hands and knees to Happy. But other than that, like, zero interaction with anybody. The fucking TVA does not count. And I don't like the TVA either, by the way. I'm sorry. I know I didn't like them in the Loki show. There's something about that. It could be just because I've worked in corporate America, in the plain colored office buildings with the low lighting and the cubicles and shit. So maybe it's just trauma and it just hits home a little too hard. You know, I don't watch shows about working in a dark, depressing office building, but something about the TVA just doesn't work for me. That Paradox guy, his story just kind of came out of nowhere. He's like, it's my job to watch your timeline slowly die over thousands of years, but I'm impatient and I don't want to, so I'm going to speed it up. Destroy your universe now. It's just super convenient plot point, super villain-esque, and that's fine. People, is one of the things the non-spoilers said was that the storyline, you know, if you're expecting like a very well-written story, that's not necessarily here. This is more of a fan service movie. Okay. The plot points were just all so convenient and contrived, and everything just kind of forced its will into things, which was fine, again, if it was going to do the fan service. But we didn't get any interactions with any Avengers. We didn't get Samuel L. Jackson in there. We didn't get anything. No Guardians of the Galaxies. There was zero MCU representation in this movie to really make you feel like you're in an MCU movie. It felt very self-contained, to be 100% honest. Then on the Fox side, I was expecting X-Men. I wanted X-Men in this movie. I wanted to see the X-Men come back from the Fox universe. And maybe they still will. Maybe they'll be in Secret Wars. We could have got a cameo at least. We got nothing. We didn't get any Professor Xavier. We didn't get Magneto. We didn't get fucking Scott. We didn't get any of them. Beast wasn't even in it. And he was in the Captain Marvel movie. Nothing. What they did give us, first of all, the first cameo, Happy Hogan, welcome to the MCU. Didn't do a lot for me, but the second cameo was bussin'. It set the fucking tone. I was like, okay, this is where we're starting. This is going to be phenomenal. Because the very first cameo you see, Chris Evans. Chris Evans comes out. He's got the blue suit on under like a scarf or like the desert towel thing that they put over the shroud. That's what it is, right? A shroud. And you think maybe that's like a nomad version of Captain America or something like that at first. You know, he comes in to try like help Deadpool and Wolverine when like bad guys are coming or something. But then he does the flame on. And it's like, nope, it's Johnny Storm from the Fox's Fantastic Four, which was great. Because what they did with this was they really played it up. And they had Chris Evans just being the exact opposite of Captain America, which I'm sure he loved. You know, he was swearing and talking really dirty and just being like an obnoxious kind of douchebag almost. And he dies brutally. There's a lot of brutal deaths. This might be the highest body count in Deadpool ever. I mean, they're killing TVA agents like they're putties and fucking Power Rangers, you know, just fucking laying them out. There's this opening scene. I told you I'm going to be all over the place. Don't worry. We'll end tight. We'll make sure it ends up with a nice bow on it. But this thing started out where Wade had to go find a Wolverine, so he literally goes to dig up the Wolverine from Logan. And he's like, how are we going to do this without, messing up the legacy of Logan? He's like, well, we're not. And he just gets in his grave and he's digging him up. And he's just like, Wolverine's not actually dead, but turns out he was dead as fuck. Pulls out like this adamantium skeleton, just a metal skeleton. And then TVA comes through the portals, and this is the scene you see in the trailer. He's fighting all these guys, but he's fighting them with pieces of Logan's adamantium skeleton. So it's funny as hell. Like, he'd break off like a piece of a rib and shank a guy in the neck. Great shit. So for me, the fight scenes were bussin'. Jokes were pretty good. It started off hot. Chris Evans. Another thing that I really, really, really loved was Cassandra Nova. I thought she did great. I thought she was terrifying. She came off as crazy. Not even like terrifying, like Thanos terrifying or anything. She came off like she belongs in a nut house. But she was phenomenal. Her powers were good. She was intimidating. She was dangerous. She was very well acted. I would have liked to see her play a bigger role. Like, she was just great. I loved her as a villain. Nailed it, in my opinion. Paradox was a joke. Didn't like Paradox at all. Now we get into the cameos I didn't like, because we did get nothing on the MCU side. No Hulk. No fucking X-Men on the Fox side. And on top of that, man, I even convinced myself, like, what if, Deadpool hangs out with Spider-Man in the comics and shit? Like, we have no idea what we're going to see in this movie. And all the reviews just said, dude, the cameos deliver in spades. Like, more than you would have even thought. Cameo orgasms. And I gotta tell you, to me, it's just not the case. It's probably because I got my hopes up, but to me, it's just not the case. And you know what? It started off getting my hopes up even more because it was Chris Evans, like, oh my God, if Chris Evans is in this movie and they kept it a secret, what else can I expect to see? Well, a whole lot of nothing, basically, because then it moves on to the big cameo scene where basically he's in this void land, right? Like the TVA where they prune you and you go to the empty space existence with the big cloud monster. And that's where Cassandra Nova's reigning, with all the villains. And she's got versions of villains that you've seen. Like Sabretooth is in here. The Sabretooth from the original X-Men. Tyler Mane, the one who plays Michael Myers in Halloween. He had a awesome fight scene with Wolverine. It didn't last very long, but he had a fight scene with Wolverine. They had a Juggernaut, but it was Juggernaut literally existed just as a plot point. One, it wasn't the actor. It wasn't either versions of Juggernaut that we've seen in the movies. To my knowledge, there's been two, right? There might have been three, but there was the one from Deadpool 2, and then there was the I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, whatever X-Men that one was. And this was neither, but he didn't do anything. He didn't even go full Juggernaut or anything. He was no big fight scene with Wolverine, nothing. Just literally a plot point to use his helmet, which, protects the mind powers from Xavier and stuff, like Magneto has. He's got a Magneto helmet, basically, and they use it to temporarily take out Cassandra Nova. So then, in this nomad world, there are pruned alternate versions of superheroes. And we don't see any from the MCU. We don't see really any from the X-Men. We do see from the Fox universe, and this must be what everybody's saying, oh, this is your love letter to the Fox superhero. They brought in Elektra. I'm sorry, but if you want me to, first of all, my kids, this was before their time. And even if my kids were old enough, or we could go back and watch some of the stuff like we did, Elektra, not going to be on that list. Neither is the Ben Affleck Daredevil, which they had like a joke about, but that was it. But we got Elektra, the Jennifer Gardner Elektra, hard pass. Don't care. Literally don't care. Nobody in the arena. You can tell I'm a wrestling fan. Nobody in the arena popped. Nobody in the theater popped for this at all. We got a Gambit. That was cool. A Channing Tatum Gambit. But to me, this was more... It was just like John Krasinski playing Reed Richards in the Multiverse of Madness. Same thing as that. It was just, wouldn't it be cool if, Gambit was played by Channing Tatum? And that's exactly what they did. And, when I was a kid, the X-Men cartoon and the X-Men comics, I was into X-Men more than probably any X-Men and Batman, more than Spider-Man or Hulk or anything like that. That was my shit. And Gambit was my dude on the X-Men cartoon and in the comics. But it didn't, I don't know, it just didn't seem to matter all that much on the big screen. He was kind of a joke because of his thick accent, the Bayou accent that he has, the Louisiana accent that he has, the Creole, is that what it is? I don't fucking know. Somebody's gonna yell at me in the comments about that, because I know there's two separate. There's Creole and then there's something else. One's French related and then one's not. That's about the extent of my knowledge for that accent that he was speaking with. But it just kind of became a joke, and his powers weren't really, he's just throwing cards at people, and it was he had that staff, the glowy purple staff, but he wasn't really. I don't know. He was the butt of jokes for the most part. It was hey, that's a fun cameo, and that was it. The one that, I'm missing one. X-23. She was in there. The kids, that one didn't register with the kids either because she's older now. So there was it didn't seem like that one got a big pop in the theater either. The only one that got a reaction was Blade. Blade got a good reaction. Fucking Wesley Snipes. The sad part is that would have been cooler had I not heard somewhere that Wesley Snipes was hired, right? That made the leaks that he had signed on to do a project with the MCU. So we could expect to see Blade in something soon. So that's what it was. So as soon as I seen it, I was like, cool, that's fucking dope. Because I love, those Blade movies. And those are the early Marvel. That's those were same time as Spider-Man, if not even before Spider-Man, were they not? At least the first Blade. But Wesley Snipes' Blade was amazing. The third one, not so much. But the first one was great. The second one was great. So it was fun to see him. He was a little bit smaller, a little bit older, had the gray beard, but he still had the attitude and the style and the charisma. And it made me think, I saw a recent interview with Kevin Feige saying that, he was asked about why the Blade script movie keeps being held up. And they said they keep thinking they're trying to find the perfect way to do it. Honestly, I'd say I would keep this Blade in to be his old man that helps him out, the new Blade's old man. He had, I forgot his name. It's escaping me at the moment, but his old man that helps him out, his tech guy or whatever. But that's it. That was it. And I was expecting a big third act, now we're going to see this guy and we're going to see that guy and we're going to get another big, and we got it, just nothing. That was it. The big reveals were those people just the ones that we just talked about, which were kind of pegged themselves as the outcasts or the forgotten abouts or whatever, and it was cool, but I expected more. That was cool, but I want to see a third act where something bigger happens, and it just didn't. We got some really good fight scenes with Wolverine and Deadpool. Another thing that didn't land with me at all was this army of Deadpools and I guess highfalutin, gluten-free, hippie, long-haired version of Deadpool, like a very handsome Deadpool that's not burned and scarred. He's got long, flowing hair, and he's super nice. He's Nice Pool. And the Dog Pool, and then there's the rest were just an army of Deadpools that are just out to kill people, and they don't really have brains or anything. They don't think, they're not to be reasoned with. They're just savage killing machines. It was so weird. I don't know. And it was fun to see alternate versions of Deadpool, and it'll be cool to like pause and go in and look at to me, I was trying to pick them all out. There was like a robot one, there's a girl one, there's Dog Pool, there's Kid Pool, but then there was like, oh god, like a Ninja Master Deadpool. There's lots of different versions, but it just didn't, they battle them all. Wolverine and Deadpool battle the Deadpools, and then they all regenerate and come back to life. And then there's a gag where Deadpool uses Nice Pool as like a human shield, thinking he can regenerate, but he's the one that can't, so he's just dead. Also, Chris Evans, the way he died was fucking amazing. Very shocking and fun. This movie did not hold out on the blood. This might be the bloodiest, goriest, most violent Deadpool. I don't know about goriest. A lot of blood splatter. A lot of like blade, sword slicing, Wolverine claw impaling, that kind of stuff. Just blood spurting everywhere, that sort of thing. But it was high body count. Like I said, like putties on Power Rangers. They're just everywhere, just laid out. I just expected more. It just didn't reach that all-time peak crescendo. Like, so Infinity War had the moment where Thanos snaps and half of the universe just dusts, and you go, it had that moment, right? Endgame had the moment where Thanos was just fighting it was just Thor and Cap and Tony, and was there even anybody else there? And then the portals open and everybody comes through. It had that moment like, yes, and it fan serviced you, right? It gave you everybody coming through that portal. Everybody came back to life, and they brought friends with them, and it was literally everybody. You had that moment. Spider-Man. There's the moment where the Peters from the other universes come through. And I gotta tell you, man, I just don't think Elektra and a Gambit that we never even got, and Blade and X-23 are the needle drop. Oh my God, I can't believe we're seeing this crossover. Like, I don't know what movie people were watching, and I watched a lot of non-spoiler reviews, and they were all like, this is cameo-gasm, the whole movie. Even Wade makes a joke in the movie about gratuitous cameos and stuff. Like, that was the thing that they were going for, and I just don't think it delivered on the cameo levels. No X-Men, no Avengers, no Guardians, nobody from the MCU at all. Happy Hogan doesn't count. I'm sorry, doesn't count. The Deadpool, the gang of army of Deadpools. Oh, and then they were defeated by I forgot his name. The old dude with the mustache, right? The dude that, God, how am I forgetting his name? I'm sorry, folks. You can admonish me in the comments. But the dude from Deadpool 2 that was in the X-Force with Wade, he comes and they're all like, oh, we all got one of those in our universes. He's amazing. And they all just like, oh, okay, we'll stop trying to attack you now. It was just so stupid. I thought the ending situation where Cassandra Nova was going to turn the machine on that destroys the universes, and which is, Wade even laughs, what in the MacGuffin is that, right? It's a plot device. It's a highly contrived plot device, like everything else in the movie, to be honest with you. But they did the thing where Wolverine and somebody has to sacrifice themselves. They're going to get obliterated, but there's a way to stop it. If they can pull the cords and hold them on each end, that will like short it out and stop the machine or some shit, but it'll kill whoever does it. Wolverine begs to do it. Deadpool was going to do it, but Wolverine wants it. Wants to sacrifice, wants to be a hero, because both these guys want to be heroes. They want to be accepted. They're both, Wade's lost. He's not Deadpooling anymore, so he doesn't have anything. He's working like car salesman jobs and shit. He doesn't have anything. And then the other Wolverine's just drinking himself to death because everybody in his universe died. All the other X-Men and stuff, they're referenced. But then Wade can't reach the other cords, and then you see a hand reach out and grab, and then it's Wolverine, and they hold hands together, and they grab the cords. And together they defeat it, and because it's the two of them, they were able to absorb. Maybe they even if it was just one of them, they probably would have, because they're both got regenerative, and they're invincible and shit, but together they were able to do it. And even that, like, as cool as it was to, like, kill Cassandra Nova and save the day, it was done before in Guardians of the Galaxy, where they all held hands at the end. Like, one person couldn't hold the Power Stone, but when they all held hands together, all the Guardians, they had the strength together, which was a very, like, together we can do it all, Captain Planet style, So even that was kind of borrowed from other shit. A lot of cool scenes, though. I gotta tell you, like Wolverine's suit, it worked. Contrived, the way he gets his suit, contrived. They're just like, oh, Wolverine has a suit in this universe that we stole him from. Okay, cool. He's just already wearing it. Deadpool gets a new suit from the TVA. They just happen to have one. So there's that. It's just so many. It just so happens to be there, Fight scenes were bangers. The opening scene with Wolverine's skeleton being used to kill like 100 TVA agents was a banger. All that shit worked for me. I just wish there would have been more integration into the MCU. Maybe that's still more to come, but you could watch this on its own and you don't need to see or know anything from the MCU other than the TVA. Like, the TVA exists. It's literally all you need to know. It kind of still, for all intents and purposes, 100% honest with you, at least where I'm coming from, and I'll need to watch it again and maybe I'll get a different opinion. But it kind of, it still lives and breathes in the Fox universe, which might be why people are saying, oh, it's a love letter to the Fox Marvel projects and stuff. But it really wasn't, because it didn't delve into anything X-Men at all other than Wolverine. It referenced it. And then they did a thing in the credits, where they're showing like behind the scenes, like director's cut behind the scenes clips or whatever that you'd get on like the DVD bonus extras of like the actors behind the scenes filming the original X-Men movies and Fantastic Four movies and stuff, like a young Chris Evans and a young all the X-Men when they were younger. It just, to me, it was a miss. I don't know. It didn't tie everything in enough for me. X-23, no one cares. Elektra, no one cares. Gambit, people cared till it became a joke, and then it was like, well, okay, you're more of a glorified like stunt casting. And Blade kicked fucking ass, but that was not enough for me to go, oh my god, Blade was in the movie. Like, that's huge, but it wasn't. And Chris Evans was really a big pop. Nobody cares about Johnny Blaze. Nobody cared about him in the Fantastic Four. To me, that was like, it's a giant step down, obviously, from being Captain fucking America. But because he had achieved Captain America status, it hit different when he went back to Johnny Storm, and there was no cap in him, the way he was talking and stuff. It was very Johnny Storm. So it's a good separation. That was the best cameo of the movie, but oh man, I'm just sad that I let myself down with this one and getting my hopes up. But as a movie, it's good. I don't even know that I'm ready to say it was the best Deadpool movie. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but it's not the way that I felt coming out of Infinity War and Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home. It's just a little bit of a disappointment. So that's just my thoughts. I'll leave it there because I think what I'm going to start to do is ramble and go in loops now. Start to think of other things to try to say. Wolverine, I think I was going to say with Wolverine's suit, his mask looked pretty bussin'. It looked a little fakey with the white eyes. It didn't fully work, but it was still pretty badass because we haven't really seen it before. There's a scene in the beginning too where Wade's killing the TVA guys with Wolverine's skeleton, where he somehow is able to have Wolverine's claws function and he's stabbing people with their claws. Like, there's a lot of good shit in it. It's a good movie. You're not going to be bored. You're not going to hate it. It's not a waste of your time. It's certainly not the Marvels or anything like that. It's not Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania. Like, this is a very solid movie. I just don't know that it's the movie that I wanted it to be or hoped it would be or expected it to be. And that's my fault because I'm the one who got my own hopes up. I'm the one who made my own list of this is what I want to see and this is what I want to see and this is what I want to see. And I got none of it. So I'm an asshole and it's my fault. But at the same time, like, the hype train was real. Like, I didn't pull that out of my ass, right? Like, that's what everybody's saying about it. That's what the rumors are. That's what the leaks are. But I don't know. Is the MCU back on track? Is it like, are we MCU mania again now? I don't know about that either. Because these guys never really did anything in the fucking MCU. They didn't interact with it. Nothing really changed. So I don't know. I don't even know that they're going to exist in the MCU going forward. I would assume so. Neither of them have been killed off. Didn't look like they were written off. We'll see what happens. I expect them both to pop up in Secret Wars somehow. I'm sure Deadpool will continue. I don't know how much more Hugh Jackman has in him as Wolverine, though he was both of them were fantastic. I'll give them that too. That should have been set up front. The acting, they nailed it. Both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman were fucking killer in this. Chris Evans was a huge highlight to me. He was there for a very short time as Johnny Storm, but he was so good. It was so good because I'm used to seeing him as Cap. And when you're used to seeing such a pure and PG Cap that doesn't even like swearing, and then you see this guy talking dirty. Ugh. And I thought Cassandra Nova was a badass villain. I really, really, really liked her a lot. But everything else was just kind of meh. I don't know. It could have did better. I expected more. I was let down, and you didn't get the big third act. Like, it just wasn't there. Oh, there was the guy, while I do the Superman song, the guy who played Henry Cavill. They did a version of Henry Cavill as Wolverine when Wade was hopping through the timelines of different Wolverines. But again, that's like fan servicey type stuff, which is, I guess, what they were saying. That was the point of it. But I don't know that my dick gets super hard over Henry Cavill. Oh my God, Henry Cavill dressed up like Wolverine. I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to know if any of this resonates with you guys, or if I'm just way off. And feel free to tell me, like, bro, I don't know what movie you watched, but I fucking love this. It hit. It was a banger. I loved every second of it. I even thought it started kind of slow after that big fight scene with Wolverine's skeleton. It was kind of, you get the whole Wade and his friends and family and the TVA, and it was just like, come on. But that's just me. Please let me know your thoughts. Let's continue the discussion down in those comments below. What did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine? Did it live up to the hype train? Was it everything you hoped it would be? Everything you expected it to be? Or did it let you down like your father did? Let me know. Peace, love, and pizza. I am your boy, Seth Grimes. Hit that subscribe button down below. It would help me out greatly. And we'll catch you in the next review.